I used to think as a kid that only rich dudes buy the collector's edition of a game. Now I think only rich dudes buy the game. So how bad is it? Is AAA truly dead? Are we living in a world where we cannot trust big corporations that supposedly are controlling our lives behind our backs? Right, like that could be true. As someone who is physically incapable of getting excited when looking at crap like this, the only thing that I can say is let's all just be prideful chads and play some Puyo Puyo Tetris. Oh, don't be silly. How can we throw off all this monstrous capitalistic consumerism that defines us as a culture? We have to bow down to the more powerful companies even if their games are shit, because they make dope cinematic trailers. And I cannot resist dope cinematic trailers because I have a very simple mind. Anyone with that much money can make dope cinematic trailers, people. Take a look at the state of the AAA scene. Hellblade 2, for example, is a game that the only thing that you can say about is, wow, graphics. Fuck you! It's like throwing cash at your monitor. But what's the point? When the story feels like the same old I have psychosis crap and the gameplay is almost non-existent. But no, who cares about that? Let's just look at Senua's teeth. Ubisoft opened up pre-orders before even showing the gameplay of their supposedly new game, Assassin's Creed Shadows. It's like they took a look at us and said, wow, these peasants are actually stupid enough to pre-order our games even if they are all practically the same. So what's the harm in making them pay this money sooner? They are literally making fun of you. Literally. And by the way, do you remember a game called Avatar Frontiers of Pandora? Yeah, neither do I. I didn't even notice that a game like this exists. You know why? It's because this is the most mediocre thing that could be experienced by a sentient being. And you know what? They are charging $70 for the standard edition and $130 for the ultimate edition. Or the gold edition, I don't know the difference anymore. Really? For a game that should have been called Far Cry but you play with blue dudes instead? I wasn't sure at the beginning that the AAA industry is actually that bad. But come on, this is getting ridiculous. They want to make gigantic empty worlds. 1000 planets in Starfield. Cool. So what kind of content do these planets offer? Well, you can stumble upon an abandoned factory or another abandoned factory, and if you got super lucky, you can find a cave. Oh, that's exciting. What's inside the cave?
Minerals.
Just changing the names of the planets does not make these planets different. At least do more work on the abandoned factories. They all look the fucking same. Starfield could have been one of the best games of all time if you just reduced the number of planets to, let's say, 20 planets, where you can find different activities and types of content inside each one. Focus the overworked, sad developers on these few planets instead of adding randomly generated repetitive environments that have no actual substance. So yeah, Battle Tower. No, not 16 times the detail. I don't need that. Everyone wants to make an open world game, even if apparently no one knows how. And even if one of these dudes does it right, like Breath of the Wild, everyone will start copying the same thing, expecting people to like it. That's how foul, monstrous abominations like Immortals Phoenix Rising came into existence.
Ew, and what's this thing?
AAA companies' focus is misguided. They want everything to be bigger in scale. They want graphics and gigantic maps filled with random stupid side quests. And all that just to make the game longer, trying to impress people with next-gen realistic graphics. Oh yeah! Like the wise Sonic meme once said, I want shorter games with worse graphics made by people who are paid more to work less. And I'm not kidding. AAA companies spend unimaginable amounts of wealth to make these games, not understanding that throwing money because you have it does not necessarily make a good product. You can do it right, and you can also fuck it up. The problem is, these last few years, we find that the number of fuck-ups is rapidly increasing, and on top of that, to cover their reckless spending, they try to make ways to make you pay more money, either with in-game purchases or by giving you half of the game now and then making you pay more money for the other half later. So that's what you wanted, huh? You damn greedy bastards. I know it sounds like I'm saying stop buying loving AAA games, which is kind of what I'm saying, but let's be honest. Getting too excited for new AAA releases these days will only hurt your little fragile Sonic-loving heart. And due to the fact that these corporations have no respect whatsoever for their consumers' average intelligence, I have decided to look elsewhere for something that can take my mind off my suicidal thoughts. And that thing is indie games. Why did I choose indies over AAAs? Well, why wouldn't I choose indies over AAAs? Indie games don't charge me $70 for a game that looks like this. It's just very simple. While AAAs are acting like the evil cartoonish businessmen they are,
I'm giving none of this to charity!
trying to make my legally acquired money in exchange for a mediocre product, indie developers are actually making good stuff. Baldur's Gate 3 is the best example of this. The game taught the big players in the industry a lesson. They created an amazing, immersive, and complete experience with no buy half of the game now then pay more money for the other half later crap. And I'm looking at you, Sims 5. And look, people adored the game, and aside from Baldur's Gate 3, you find hundreds of indie games that offer great entertaining experiences filled with unique styles and beautiful stories. These games are literally cheaper and better, so why are we still getting excited for new AAA releases? Why in God's name are we still bound by these bloodthirsty evil barons that feed on our simple minds? I, I want that. You may say, but I played a lot of indies. Hades is great, Hotline Miami is a masterpiece, Undertale is amazing, but you will soon run out of good indie games, right? Well, I do not think so. Independent game studios are growing more and more in numbers. The idea of making a game on your own or with a couple of friends is getting more and more popular each day. People will not laugh at you if you want to start doing something like that because it's an accessible industry now. It's the cool thing to do. Every tool and everything people need to make games is available, so the different independent game experiences are all over the place. Just do some research. Don't type the best indie games ever known to humanity in Google search and expect to find something that you never played before. Take a closer look. You can find things like Berserk Boy, a game inspired by the looks of older Mega Man games but offering new, faster gameplay that looks and feels entertaining. Or Bomb Rush Cyberpunk, a game inspired by the youthful hip look and sound of Jet Set Radio. There's also E.T., Children of the Sun, Cataclysmo, Animal Well, Henry Halfhead, a game where you literally play with half a head, Hermit and the Pig, Nirvana Noir, and one of the indie games that I'm most excited to play is Ghost Bike. Like, damn, look at this. You don't have to spend Mansa Musa's wealth to make a video game look good. It's ridiculous. I found it a very stupid move to try and improve on realistic graphics at this point. It's already improved. I don't expect anything more than Hellblade 2. I know this sounds cheesy, but yeah, you can feel the developer's passion while playing an indie game because they don't have this stupid, unreasonable management above them that commands them to put unhealthy amounts of time and effort to make Senua's teeth look freaking real. Because even if people cared, it will be only for a few seconds. No one is going to keep looking at the teeth. Believe me, just make fun games. That's all.